The show starts with a big and heavily guarded corporate building, and a fancy car arrives. A well-dressed man gets out and helps a blind young woman, Lin, who's the daughter of the Hong Fu Group chairman. He's Joe, her personal bodyguard. They head to an important meeting, but Joe's phone rings. It's Lin's fiancé, Chi Shan, who's in trouble with the board members and wants Lin to stay away. Despite this, Lin insists on going to help him, so they enter the building. Joe tries to go with her, but security stops him, so he gives her an alarm to use if she's in danger. Lin goes to the meeting, where the board tries to force Chi Shan to do something he doesn't want. They demand Lin sign a document to transfer company ownership, claiming she can't run the group because she's blind. Lin refuses angrily, but they make her leave her fingerprint on the paper by force. She hits the alarm button, and Zhu rushes in to save her. He takes her to a quiet room, but this triggers painful memories of her father's murder. We see a flashback where Lin catches Joe threatening her father, making her think he might be the killer. She faints. Later, Lin wakes up at home and finds Joe there. She fires him, but he plays a recording of her father hiring him to protect her. Lin asks him to show his wounds to prove his innocence. Joe reluctantly does, revealing scars on his body. Lin touches one and becomes more convinced he's guilty. Frustrated, Joe guides Lin's hands across his scarred body, explaining that it's normal for bodyguards to have such scars. Jishan, beaten and released by the board members, is tended to by Lin's best friend Yue. Despite trying to keep his distance, Yue approaches him, stating Lin can't see anyway. Lin, with some difficulty, makes her way to Jishan, expressing suspicions about Joe, and asking him to call the police. Jishan comforts her, explaining her blindness resulted from an accident on the day her father died. He assures her that no one else was in her father's room that day, and encourages her to rest and take medication. Later, Lin remembers a surveillance camera in her father's study, and rushes to retrieve it, unaware that Joe is also searching for documents there. Lin accidentally bumps into a bookshelf, and concerned for her safety, Joe reaches out to protect her, arousing Lin's suspicion. Overhearing, Yue and Jishan arrive, but Lin asks Jishan to retrieve the camera. Joe hands it to Lin, but before she leaves, Yue offers to review the footage. After watching, Yue tells Lin it only shows her father, Lin Guofo. Jishan asks if there are other cameras, but Lin denies it. Jishan suggests she rest, as it's late. Later he meets Yue privately and takes the footage from her, discovering it's been tampered with. Meanwhile, Joe returns home and unties his friend, revealing his true identity. Mo Yao, pretending to be Lin's bodyguard, is actually seeking justice for his father's death. The next morning, Lin decides to meet her former nanny, Wang Ma, accompanied by Mo Yao. Sensing trouble at Wang Ma's, Mo Yao investigates, but finds traps inside and outside the house. He rescues Lin from attackers but receives cuts. Lin senses fresh blood and faints. Mo Yao brings her home and calls the family's doctor. Qishan blames Yue for the incident, revealing their plan to frame debt collectors. Resting, Mo Yao talks about his loyalty to Lin. He helps her learn to eat independently. When Qishan arrives to discuss funeral arrangements, Mo Yao suggests a location, and Lin agrees. After the burial, Mo Yao shares his feelings about losing his father with Lin. Lin receives a flash drive with cryptic message. Yue discovers info about Mo Yao's background. Lin invites Mo Yao for a drink, hoping to verify his identity. She tries to check his scar, but he stops her. Lin confronts him, tired of the mysteries. Mo Yao admits he's not who he claimed but denies involvement in her father's death. He warns her about the people around her. Back home, Mo Yao and Joe, who is like a brother, discuss Mo Yao's revelation. Mo Yao takes Lin to Wang Ma, who reveals Qishan and Yue were with Lin's father on the day he died, contradicting the surveillance footage. Lin apologizes to Mo Yao. She confronts him about Yue's deception. Mo Yao questions her trust in Qishan. Lin insists Qishan saved her after a car accident, but Mo Yao knows it was him. Lin confronts Qishan and Yue, suspecting they're lying about the surveillance footage. When Lin leaves, Qishan reveals he knows Mo Yao's true identity. Qishan questions Mo Yao's motives for working as Lin's bodyguard. Mo Yao admits he's there for money, but warns Qishan and Yue not to harm Lin in pursuit of their financial interests. Lin Guofu's lawyer transfers shares to Mo Yao due to guilt over the Qin Group's takeover. Zhou shares evidence of Lin Guofu's wrongful actions, but Mo Yao refuses legal action to protect Lin. Lin recognizes Mo Yao by his scent, indicating her growing affection. Lin meets Zhou after Mo Yao leaves to see his sick mother. Zhou leads Lin to an underground parking lot, where hired thugs intimidate her. Mo Yao arrives too late, finding Lin threatened by the thugs. After subduing them, Lin recognizes the woman who hired them as Yue. Mo Yao confronts Yue, refusing to retaliate physically. He emphasizes protecting Lin's emotions. Zhou worries Mo Yao is becoming emotionally attached to Lin and suggests hiding the truth about her father's involvement in Mo Yao's father's death. Yue lies to Lin about her intentions, but Lin confronts her with evidence from the thug's confessions. Qishan plays a recording of Mo Yao allegedly conspiring against Lin's family. Devastated, Lin needs time to process. In her agitation, Lin slips in the shower, hitting her head. Mo Yao finds her, and she questions his motives. When he remains silent, she asks him to leave. Lin discovers her vision is restored and catches Qishan and Yue betraying her. Pretending to still be blind, Lin expresses her desire for them to stay by her side. Devastated, Lin realizes why Mo Yao warned her about those around her. Lin confronts Mo Yao, recognizing him from a past confrontation with her father. Mo Yao insists he was paid by Qishan but didn't harm her father. Lin accuses Mo Yao of her father's death, growing increasingly angry. Mo Yao kisses her and mentions the complexity of the situation. Lin remains stubborn and walks away. Mo Yao drinks, drowning his sorrows, while Zhou advises him to quit his job. Lin, now wary of Qishan, decides to investigate her father's will. Lin pretends to be blind during the will reading, noticing Qishan's shock at its contents. She realizes Mo Yao was telling the truth. Qishan is disappointed when the will doesn't mention shares from the Hongfu group. Lin calmly signs the will, then questions the lawyer about the transferred shares. Zhou intercepts Lin, revealing Mo Yao's feelings for her. Lin is stunned and receives a USB drive from Zhou containing information about Yue. Meanwhile, Mo Yao, drinking alone, receives a call from Lin, saying she's outside. Mo Yao swiftly swings open the door, inviting Lin in, and proposes an agreement to hire him as her personal assistant. Curious about her renewed trust, Mo Yao questions Lin's motives, who insists that if he harbored ill intentions, they would have surfaced by now. Lin also discloses that Zhou disclosed Mo Yao's feelings for her, causing him to blush and confess his affection. Following this, Lin probes Mo Yao about Qishan's potential involvement in her father's demise, suspecting foul play due to recent changes in the will and the hurried burial. Determined to unearth evidence, Lin instructs Mo Yao to keep her recovery under wraps. In another scene, Yue and Qishan enjoy a romantic moment at home, until Mo Yao unexpectedly guides Lin into the room, catching them off guard. Despite Qishan's objections, Lin insists on giving Mo Yao a chance to prove himself, citing her lack of fear, due to the support of her two allies. Later, at Lin's birthday celebration, Yue presents her with an extravagant gift, but Lin treasures the engagement ring from Qishan the most. When Yue tries to hide the ring, Lin accuses her of theft, causing Yue to flee in embarrassment. Remaining composed despite Yue's betrayal, Lin decides to let Yue and Qishan make their own mistakes. As expected, Yue begs for forgiveness, prompting a confrontation between her and Qishan regarding Mo Yao's alleged involvement. Lin, meanwhile, discovers Qishan's insurance policy on her, fueling her suspicions. After narrowly avoiding detection in Qishan's room, Lin and Mo Yao strategize downstairs, determined to thwart Qishan's schemes. When Yue reveals Mo Yao's majority share ownership, Mo Yao calmly challenges Qishan to involve the police, confident that Lin's father's hair sample will reveal the truth. As Lin and Mo Yao monitor surveillance footage, they observe Qishan attempting to locate her father's hair sample, strengthening their suspicions. Despite facing danger, Lin continues her search for evidence in Qishan's room, but her cover is almost blown until Mo Yao intervenes, protecting her. After a tense confrontation with Qishan, Lin surprises Mo Yao with a birthday cake, marking a rare celebration for him. Their feelings finally acknowledged, they share a heartfelt moment. The next morning, Lin discovers Mo Yao's absence and fears the worst. only to find him injured but safe at home. As Qishan seeks revenge and Lin confronts him alone, Mo Yao faces off against members of the Jingsing Society in a series of life-threatening battles. Meanwhile, Lin uncovers Mo Yao's secret message, then her photo album, realizing his true feelings. In a shocking revelation, Yue admits her betrayal, and Mo Yao confronts her, demanding evidence to expose Qishan's crimes. With the truth finally emerging, Lin and Mo Yao brace themselves for the challenges ahead, united in their resolve to seek justice and protect each other. The latter, however, forcefully pushed Lin Guofu to the ground, resulting in a heart attack that ultimately led to his demise. Right then, Qishan confronts Yue, accusing her of treachery due to her collaboration with Miao, which is causing his financial losses. Yue swiftly refutes the allegations, but Qishan points out that only she knew about the things that Miao is now exploiting against him. He demands the video footage from the study, but when she refuses, Qishan violently attacks her. He drags her by her hair, smashes her head with a vase, leading to her death. Later that night, Lin invites Miao to have a drink, and he inquires about her unusual behavior. She explains that it's been a while since they shared a drink. They then jest about the time she got him drunk to verify his identity. After a good laugh, Lin expresses her frustrations about not being able to bring Qishan to justice. Despite knowing the truth, he is still walking free. In response, Miao reassures her that they will eventually find the evidence to hold Qishan accountable for his crimes. After consuming too much alcohol, Miao passes out. Lin tenderly kisses him, determined to confront Qishan and end this once and for all. The next day, upon awakening, Lin notices Miao's absence and finds a note beside her table. The note advises her not to be so obvious the next time she decides to drug him. He promises to return soon and urges her to wait in the room until then. Alarmed, Lin rushes to open the door but finds it locked. She then calls the police for assistance, claiming that she is trapped. Elsewhere, Miao arrives at an abandoned warehouse, which is supposed to be the meeting place for Qishan and Lin. Qishan is not surprised at all, as he knows Miao won't remain idle when Lin is in trouble. Qishan confidently states that since Miao has now arrived, he won't leave alive. He then reveals his plan to take over the Qin family. Realizing the depths of Qishan's treachery, Miao clenches his teeth, but before he can make a move, a dozen or so henchmen appear behind Qishan. Nevertheless, Miao removes his clothes and prepares to fight. Meanwhile, Zhou visits Yue and discovers her lifeless body in her room. She is still clutching the pen drive containing the crucial surveillance camera footage. Zhou promptly takes the card and contacts the police to report the incident. Back at the warehouse, Miao fights bravely, despite being outnumbered and stabbed in the abdomen. Qishan approaches him for a final strike, but Lin arrives just in time and saves him. Enraged, Qishan grabs her and holds her at knife point. He then forces Miao to kneel before him and beg for her safety. Seeing his arch-nemesis kneel before him in this manner, Qishan feels immense satisfaction. He watches the tragic couple and laughs maniacally, believing he has complete control. However, Miao summons his strength, grabs Qishan's wrist, holding the dagger, and stabs him in the chest. Witnessing both of them bleeding profusely, Lin calls an ambulance and holds Miao tight. In the final scene, we learn that Qishan survived the stab wound, but justice is served when he is sentenced to death for homicide, robbery, fraud, and racketeering. Meanwhile, Lin fusses over a bouquet of white chrysanthemums before she goes to visit her father's grave. Miao is waiting for her with an umbrella. She then takes his arm, and together they visit her father's grave. The drama ends with the couple finally finding the peace they always desired.